Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
What if I told you that nearly 60% of adults with diabetes worldwide are untreated? That's 6 out of 10 people you probably know. I'm talking about friends, family, coworkers, silently struggling with their health and unsure how to turn things around. For many people, diabetes is like a slow leak in a tire. You may not even notice the slow leak right away, but over time, it can leave you stranded if you don't take action. In today's episode, we're talking about how you can stop the leak, avoid the traps of trendy diet programs, and make the right shifts toward lasting health after receiving a diabetes diagnosis. Receiving a type 2 diabetes diagnosis can really turn your world upside down. 1 minute, you're at your doctor's office for a routine checkup, or in my situation, you get a call from your doctor's office on a Sunday afternoon telling you to drop everything and run to the emergency room because your blood sugar levels are way too high. And then the next minute, you're hearing terms like A1C and blood glucose and type 2 diabetes. Whoa, wait, what? Nah. It feels like a ton of bricks are just on your shoulders that you can't shake off. It's a lot to take in, folks. I know, I've been there. You start thinking, what does this mean for me? Do I have to give up all the foods that I love? How do I even get here? What am I supposed to do? Am I going to be on medication for the rest of my life? You know, there's worry, maybe even fear about what's next, like the changes you have to make, like what's going to actually happen to my life moving forward. Am I going to lose limbs? Am I going to go blind? There's a lot of things that go through our minds sometimes. But here's the thing. While it may feel like a lot at first, this is also your chance to take back control and turn things around. It's all about making the right shifts, folks, one step at a time. When was the last time you set a high health goal at the start of the year only to feel stuck, frustrated, and even overwhelmed a few weeks later, or maybe a couple months later? If you're like most people, New Year's resolutions sound great, right? In theory. But for those with prediabetes or even type 2 diabetes, the stakes are higher than just losing a few pounds, folks. The truth is, managing this condition can feel like an uphill battle. I know this because I lived through it myself. Back in 2018, I kind of brushed off my prediabetes diagnosis, but then guess what? By 2020, specifically August 2020, I was officially living with type 2 diabetes. It became a wake-up call that I could not ignore. That's why in today's episode, we're going to address the common pain points that people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes face when trying to make a shift. We're also going to talk about some trendy diets that often fail and what to focus on instead. I'm going to give you some practical, simple tips to help you create a sustainable change this year. This year has to be different, folks. Don't keep going back to, not winning. This is the year for you to win and to win big. If you've ever struggled with where to start and you feel stuck right now in some old habits, this episode is for you. Let's make this year the year that you make a strong, educated, right shift from being frustrated to being focused. So stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Today, let's dive into this episode, making the right shift towards good health after receiving your diabetes diagnosis. If you're listening, chances are you felt the challenges that come with managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Maybe you just found out that you have these conditions and you don't know where to start. Well, let me share with you why I launched a personal mission to help people with diabetes make lifestyle changes to reverse the condition. You see, in my personal journey, it was tough, folks. When I was in that hospital for about 5 to 6 days, I had so many things going through my mind. What was my life going to look like? How was I going to be able to just manage this disease? Am I going to, what's going to really happen to me? Am I going to lose my eyesight? Am I going to eventually lose a limb? And that scared me, folks. I'm telling you, I was straight up scared. And I'm not a person that, is pessimistic. I'm typically very optimistic. But when you're 268 pounds, laid up in a hospital, and you're thinking about your friends who've passed away or people who've lost limbs because of type 2 diabetes, that can be very sobering. But, one thing I learned along my journey is that type 2 diabetes does not have to win. And the more and more I started learning about the disease and what I can do to not only get it under control, but to potentially reverse it in my situation, the more I was compelled to share my journey with other people. And man, when I finally came off of medication for high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, I was excited, man. And I was like, you know what? I need to tell people that this can be done. This is practical. So that's why I share my story. And in every episode, I'm going to keep telling you that you can win and you can win big. Because folks, I'm tired of seeing people lose limbs. I'm tired of seeing people lose their eyesight. And I'm tired of seeing people die needlessly because of type 2 diabetes. I know change feels hard, folks, but it's necessary. Now, let me share with you some stats. You may know some people in your inner circle that are dealing with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. You may know people in your neighborhood. You may know people at work, at church, in your social groups, wherever. Diabetes is a worldwide issue. It's a concern. And here's some shocking things that you should pay attention to. Nearly 60% of adults with diabetes worldwide are not even receiving treatment. And many don't even know they have type 2 diabetes. Think about that. That's hundreds of thousands of people who are at risk of a life-altering condition and experiencing complications simply because their type 2 diabetes remain undiagnosed and unmanaged. That's why we need to take action early, folks. It's so important. I ignored it in 2018 when I was first diagnosed with prediabetes. I wish I had taken the advice of my doctor when I was first diagnosed with prediabetes. I didn't. And then 2 years later, boom, I'm in the hospital learning that I have type 2 diabetes. Man, imagine if I had taken the small steps to my diet and exercise that they recommended. I would have saved a lot of stress. I would have saved myself from a lot of headache. I would have saved definitely myself from getting in the hospital and potentially dying, folks. So whether it's regular screenings or committing to small changes in your daily routine, every step matters. Now, let's talk about some common pain points that many people face when trying to make a shift, because that's what it's all about, folks, is shifting from where you are now to where you need to be. It's not easy. Change is not easy, but again, it's necessary. Some people feel overwhelmed by where to start. You might think, should I go keto? Should I take on the keto diet? Should I just stop eating bread altogether? Should I try intermittent fasting? Should I join a gym or not? I don't like going to the gym. So what can I do? Is the gym the only solution for me to lose weight and get my blood sugar under control? Speaking of blood sugar control, what's the best way to lower my A1C? With so much information out there, it's easy to feel paralyzed. Another pain point is people struggling to stay consistent. We've all been there before. You can hear all day me tell you that consistency is the key to breakthrough, but hey, it's a struggle. I get it. Starting is one thing, sticking with it is another thing. Life gets busy, cravings hit, and old habits, they just try to sneak back in. And sometimes we give in to those old habits, right? Here's another pain point, dealing with social pressures, family gatherings, around the holidays. You have staff lunches and social events. And guess what? It's like walking through a landmine, right? Everybody is bringing all these foods and you're trying to live right. You're trying to eat right because you've just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And you're like, okay, you see the cake, you see the pies at Thanksgiving, you see the holiday, foods, and you're like, oh man, I just want to just eat whatever I want to eat, everyone's offering you foods that don't align with your goals. And you're trying to say no, but you feel isolated. Here's another thing. Folks, a lot of us deal with negative self-talk. The mirror or the scale doesn't reflect the progress you hope for, right? And it's easy to think, man, what's the point? I'll never get this thing right. And here's another thing. Managing anxiety when it comes to your health. I mean, I saw a report recently about how type 2 diabetes and receiving a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes really causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. And you're talking about mental health issues, depression, and so many other things that people are dealing with. You see, every doctor's visit or glucose reading feels like a report card, right? You feel so anxious, and then there's the fear of complications like nerve damage and heart disease. And those things can just really weigh on you heavily and affect you emotionally. It can affect you mentally. It just can take a toll on you. If any of these things that I've shared with you resonate, you're not alone, folks. I've been there myself. And I know how discouraging it can feel. But here's the good news. Making a shift is possible. And it starts with small, sustainable changes. Listen, if I can do it at 268 pounds at the time, not knowing what to do, but being committed to change, so can you, folks. I've lost over 80 pounds. I feel so great now. But I remember those days when I didn't feel great. I remember those days when I would show up to the gym or show up to work and all this food is in front of me, or I'm in the gym and I see all these people who look healthy, look better than I did, and I'm feeling gym shame. Or, you're at work and, everybody's just enjoying their pizzas and enjoying their fried foods. And I'm like, I can't eat that no more. Right? I've been there, but be encouraged, folks. Making the right shift towards good health isn't about being perfect. It's not about perfection. Get the perfectionism out of your head. It's about progress. It's about moving forward and not going backwards. Even if you have a cheat meal, giving into one cheat meal does not mean you don't have progress or that you're not making progress. It may be a slip up, but listen, it's not about how you fall. It's about how you get up. When I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I thought I had to overhaul my entire life overnight. But here's what I learned. I learned that sustainable change happens one step at a time. That's what shifting is all about. Making small changes one step at a time. So to help you, my listeners, on your journey, I recommend that you use the shift mindset. It's a framework that will help you to change and overhaul your life. So shift is SHIFT. S is shape your thinking. H is heal your body. I is improve your lifestyle. F is finish what you start. And T, treat yourself right. So shape your thinking. I want you to break free from that all or nothing mentality. Where they say, what is it? No pain, no gain. Just go all in, just willy nilly. No, you want to be smart. So break free from that all or nothing mindset. You want to be practical. You want to be smart. Progress matters more than perfection. Remember that. Now, heal your body. Focus on eating nourishing foods and incorporating consistent movement, moving every day. Improve your lifestyle. That's I. Improve your lifestyle. I want you to identify some small habits you can change today. I have an entire episode or two on breaking bad habits. It can be done. So go back in the library and look for some of those episodes. You will love it. Now, F for finish what you start. Don't give up at the first sign of struggle, folks. Too many times we struggle and we're like, man, this is not working. Well, how do you know it's not working? Just because you went backwards and you gain an extra pound or two, or maybe even 5 pounds, that doesn't mean that you're a failure. So don't give up. Remember, finish what you start. Now, T, treat yourself right. You have to start celebrating small wins, no matter how small. If you've lost a half a pound, celebrate it. If you've lost 5 pounds, celebrate it. Celebrate, 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 no matter how small. You see, this mindset helped me to move from frustration to focus, and I know it can help you too. Now, let's talk about some diet trends versus living a sustainable lifestyle of good health. I want to address the elephant in the room, right? It's diets. Every January, flashy headlines promise you some quick fixes. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in 2 weeks. Or the one food you must stop eating now. And you see all these things pop up in your social media feed and on television, and it's all kind of things that are just being thrown at you. Listen, it's by design. Everybody, or a lot of people, want to start the new year by changing how they look, changing how they feel. It's a new you, it's a new year, and all this other stuff. Folks, I'm all about celebrating the beginning of every year. You have your resolutions and so forth. I stopped making resolutions because this is my lifestyle, right? We shouldn't have to wait till January to reset or to begin a lifestyle of health. Listen, I don't care if it's April, June, July, October. I don't care what it is. My thing is, I want you to develop a healthy lifestyle that's sustainable. But here's the truth. Trendy diets that you hear about, they are often unsustainable. So why follow diets that, are very restrictive? Instead of chasing trends, I want you to start focusing on eating patterns that work for your life. A diet is simply really an eating pattern. Like, this is how I eat. This is how I live. And then I want you to ask yourself, can I see myself eating this way long term? If you choose an eating pattern, can you do it long term? Do you see yourself doing it long term? Or is it that you're just trying to fit into a dress, or you're trying to fit into an outfit, fellas? Come on. Does this diet that you're thinking about or that you're considering fit your overall lifestyle? Or does it just feel like punishment? Every January you have some people, they go on this like extreme fast. And they're like, you know what? I'm just going to eat one meal a day for the next 31 days. And they they get headaches. They didn't consult their physician, and they're making these drastic changes. But then guess what happens February 1st? You're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm just going to eat whatever. And then you just go ham and indulge in stuff that you shouldn't be indulging in. And then you really ruin your progress. And guess what? You end up in this cycle and things get worse. Remember, the goal isn't just to lose weight, folks. It's to improve your overall health. I want to drive that home. When you choose sustainable habits, guess what's going to happen? You are going to lower your blood sugar and your A1C levels. You are going to take the pressure off your joints. You are going to improve your energy, especially if you're focusing on getting better sleep. Now, these are the wins that matter the most as far as I'm concerned. Lowering your blood sugar, that's a win. Lowering the pressure on your joints, feeling and getting more energy, improving your health, improving your sleep. Guys, let's focus on celebrating those wins. And you know what? Losing the weight and looking great, man, those are bonuses. But don't be pressured by that number on the scale, folks. I'm telling you, when I hit, what was it? I went from 268 to 220. Yes, I mean, you're talking about, what's that, 48 pounds of weight loss? But when I hit that plateau, my plateau was at 220 and I felt like I wasn't losing any weight. And guess what? I was upset. I'm like, man, why am I stuck here at 220? I'm not making any progress. What? You mean not making any progress? I went from 268 to 220. That's major. But I was focusing at that point on the wrong things. So what I did was I continued to make the shift. I continued to just dial in and say, okay, clearly I'm doing something right. So just keep that going. Now, I want to break for a second and share with you, every year, U.S. News and World Report, they release their top diet rankings. So they rank all these different diet programs and diet plans and so forth, right? And so what they do is publish on their website some information on the rankings. So you can go on and you can compare diets for weight loss, diets for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, you name it. They have all kind of rankings out there. So I'm going to leave a link in the show notes and description for you to access that website so that you can go ahead and find some interesting information. Now, I'm not saying to go there and say whatever they say, do, you do. This is just interesting so that you can know what's out there and make an educated and informed decision. If you decide that, hey, you know what? I want structure and I'm going to follow a specific diet program. Now, there are various benefits for losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight, especially if you or someone you know has been diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. So when you go on that website for the U.S. News and World Report for 2025, I want you to go on there and I want you to pay specific attention to the diets, the recommended diets for diabetes. Again, you may find something that resonates with you, but here's the thing. You do want to lose weight because losing weight is very beneficial and will help you to improve your numbers. So while I tell you, don't be worried about the number that's on the scale, I do want you to be conscious of the number that's on the scale, because here's a small goal I want you to aim for. If you can get to the point where you lose 5 to 10% of your body weight, if you're obese and overweight, you are going to start seeing dramatic improvements in your health. That's also if you are taking the right steps to eat the proper foods and eating more healthier, cutting back on the unhealthy foods like fried foods and so forth. So some of the benefits of losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight are you're going to reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes from developing or progressing, especially if you have pre-diabetes. If you already have type 2 diabetes, trust me, I've been there. You can reduce your risk of it getting worse. Worse would be having to lose eyesight, having some issues with your blood circulation in your feet, and it leading to amputation of toes or a leg or so forth. So, and other issues. Losing weight also has the benefit of taking the pressure off your joints, like I mentioned before. I used to have to wear knee braces a lot when I would go hiking or walking or going to the gym. Losing weight is going to help lower your blood pressure. Losing weight is going to help you with your cholesterol and lowering your cholesterol. Losing weight is actually going to help you to get better sleep. Losing weight is going to help you to feel better. There's so many benefits to losing weight. So more than just fitting into an outfit. When I was getting ready for my 30th year high school reunion, I remember on social media, I put it out there that I'm going to lose 30 pounds for my 30th high school reunion. And guess what? I did it. But then it's like, okay, man, once you hit the 30-pound mark of weight loss, then what? What am I going to do? Okay, the party's over. Got to see everybody. And it hit me like, Oscar, no, your goal should be beyond the 30th high school reunion. It should be about your lifestyle and developing a lifestyle of good health. You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now what? You just want to just look good in outfits? No, it has to be more to it than that. So I mentioned to you about some diets or eating patterns that are out there. You have vegan, you have vegetarian diets, you have keto diets, Mediterranean eating lifestyle. That's the one that I ascribe to the most and seems to be the most successful. You can look on, you can research Mediterranean diet for yourself. I have books and books on the topic. It's really great. Paleo is another eating pattern or diet that people, ascribe to. Pescatarian, if you just want to eat fish and vegetables and not eat red meat, there's that. There's flexitarian, that's mostly vegetables and the occasional meat product, beef or chicken. You may want to do a combination of both at any given time. And then you have the carnivore diet. There's some people that say, hey, I'm just going to eat, beef and for the protein and so forth. So I'm not telling you which one to pick, although I personally favor the Mediterranean diet. There's so much research on it. But again, it's not highly restrictive. It's doable. Think about it. Research it for yourself. Now, there's a difference between diets and diet plans or diet programs. You have programs like Weight Watchers, Noom, Do Fasting, Nutrisystem, HelloFresh, Home Chef, Bistro, MD, Diet to Go, and so much out there. There's more to weight loss programs than just losing pounds, though. When you're choosing a weight loss program for the first time, I want you to consider some other factors. Here are 5 things that I want you to consider. Number 1, is this program realistic? Number 2, does it provide structure? Number 3, is it consistent? Will it help me to develop consistency? Number 4, is there a level of accountability? And number 5, is it sustainable? And here's a couple other questions I want you to ask. Does this weight loss program teach you how to eat healthier? You can have a meal plan that somebody creates for you, but it's the education. I know for me, just hearing somebody say, eat more spinach or eat more broccoli, eat more asparagus, I wanted to know why. I like to study food science. If I'm to eat foods that's going to give me more energy, do you know that there are certain foods that you can eat by color, right? Green foods that's going to help to spark your energy, even your creativity. Food science is so mind-blowing. Red foods, yellow foods, squash, why are certain foods by a certain color? Why do they contain certain nutrients that other foods don't have? There's so much learning that you can do, folks. It just opened the world for me. I have tons of books on nutrition and food science. So me just eating, strawberries, no, I want to understand, okay, the flavonoids and so forth in strawberries, what is that going to do for my health? I'm putting these strawberries in my smoothie. Am I okay with just doing smoothies as a diabetic? Or what about blueberries? Oh man, blueberries are full of antioxidants that help to fight off cancer and so forth. I'm like, man, there's so much to the world of food that it goes beyond just losing weight, folks. I mean, I get excited talking about this topic. I can talk about it all day. What about you? You may have type 2 diabetes. You may have been diagnosed with prediabetes. What's your learning like? Are you learning anything about the disease? Are you learning anything about your condition other than, okay, this is how you stick yourself with a needle to give yourself insulin injection? Is the only thing you know about type 2 diabetes is, okay, I need to lose weight and so I can get off medication? No, I want you to increase your learning. I want you to become a student of good health. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a whole bunch of books. Maybe you don't mind doing that. I mean, I recommend you becoming a nerd when it comes to your health. I know there's a lot of things out there that really take our attention away. There's so many television shows, so many series that we can watch and we can binge watch on this and that. But folks, you know what? I want you to start this year carving out time to increase your knowledge when it comes to food. I want you to increase your knowledge when it comes to exercise. I want you to increase your knowledge when it comes to conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, insulin resistance. There's so many things to learn about. If you are concerned about, your gut, should you just be doing sit-ups? No, sit-ups are not going to cause you to lose weight and getting a flat stomach. No, reducing body fat is what's going to help you to see those six-pack abs, fellas and ladies. Here's another question I want you to ask. When it comes to your exercise, are there specific exercises that you should be doing as a diabetic as opposed to what the bodybuilder is doing in the gym? Are you trying to become a muscle-bound athlete? That may not be your goal. I know that wasn't my goal. My goal was to lose weight, come off medication, look great, feel great, look athletic, get proper sleep on a regular basis, and have a lot of energy. Folks, I'm telling you, when I made the shift after getting my type 2 diabetes diagnosis, my world was turned right side up. And I feel so great. And I'm glad that I did. Now, for you, here's some action steps that I want you to take to overcome your situation and put you in a better position to see wins on a daily basis. Folks, we have to keep it simple. Simplify your approach. That's number one. You have to simplify your approach to making the shift. Instead of focusing on what you can't eat, I want you to focus on what you can eat. Add more vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains to your meals. Progress, remember, it's about progress. Progress. It's not about perfection. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Number two, I want you to set small, achievable goals. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with one habit, like drinking more water, and walking, let's say, 10 minutes a day. Start somewhere. Build from there. Number three, I want you to build and develop a strong support system. You have to start surrounding yourself with people who encourage you. You may have family members that, they may be in the same situation that you are, but they're not trying to turn their life around. I remember I had one follower on, I think it was TikTok. She wrote in about her dad not wanting to make changes. And, she's trying to make changes. She's trying to make sure he eats properly, but he's been receiving diagnosis after diagnosis. And he's just like, well, que sera, sera. If diabetes is going to take me out, then so what? And she was really crying out for help. Like, what can I do to help my dad? And my heart went out to this young lady, and I gave her some advice on what to do. But you know what? When you are working on building your own support system, you are going to have those family members that are not willing and or not ready to make a change. So the change that you make today for yourself, do it for you, and hopefully others will see your progress and be inspired. So again, whether it's a friend, a family member, I hope that this podcast can really be a tool and a resource that you can lean on. In your circle, again, surround yourself with positive, like-minded people. You may have to join a support group of runners or hikers, walkers, people at the gym, join up and do a spin class and you build a new community. You know what I'm saying? So surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you. Now, I want to say this about your support system. And here's the reality. You are going to have naysayers. You are going to have people who are simply jealous of your progress. Both of you all, have been over 200 and some pounds. And they're going to see your progress and they're going to be like, oh, they're going to make some snarky remark, but you just keep going. Don't get offended. Sometimes people who are naysayers, they look down on our progress because they see a limitation in themselves. Let me reemphasize these key points that I've shared throughout this podcast episode. There's a lot of things that I've implemented along my journey that have worked for me. And there are current studies that support the things that I've shared with you. So it's not just Oscar just saying this, but it's something that if you focus on, you can experience change as well. So, number one, you got to start monitoring your blood sugar on a regular basis. You have to start understanding your personal triggers, like what foods really spike your blood sugar. You just been diagnosed, so you have to keep a track of what's going on. Take your blood pressure readings. You don't have to do it every day. I was doing it every day. I was checking my blood sugar every day. And then one day I didn't have to because my doctor was like, hey, you don't need to be on medication anymore. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes, but it didn't happen overnight. So check your blood sugar on a regular basis. Understand what your personal food triggers are. And it's not just about food, but it's also drinks. If you're drinking a lot of sugary drinks, that may be an issue, folks. That's one thing. Number two, consistent, moderate exercise is important. I have to emphasize moving more. I'm not saying moving and exercise was going to cause you to lose weight, because really weight loss is about what you're putting in your body, right? You and I got to the weight that we were at when we were overweight, not because we were sitting around a lot, but it's probably because of what we were putting in our bodies. And on top of that was being very sedentary. So consistent, moderate exercise is very important. Number three, stress will damage your progress. So I want you to manage stress effectively. If you're having a lot on your shoulders, you may be a single mom and you're having to work a full-time job, make sure the kids are taken care of and you're neglecting yourself. And when you come home, it's like, oh, okay, I have to get the kids ready for school tomorrow. I have to make sure clothes are washed. I have to keep the house clean. I have to do all these different things. And the last thing that you're thinking about is what you're putting in your body, and you're stressed out. And then on top of that, number four, quality sleep. You have to get quality sleep. So you may be struggling with sleep because, again, you're that single mom or single dad, or you may be married and you're just managing this household and you're just full of stress. You're not getting enough sleep. And on top of that, you probably don't have a good support system. So manage stress wisely. Find outlets where you can decompress, folks. This is very important. Quality sleep, you have to make sleep a priority. I don't care what's on television. I know you like to relax. I don't care, what projects you're working on and so forth. you have to establish a good sleep routine because getting proper sleep is going to help you to manage stress, folks. This is a lifestyle that I'm talking to you about. It's not just about losing 5, 10, 20 pounds, folks. This is an entire lifestyle. I hope this episode really has been a blessing to you guys. And if it has, as always, I want you to share the link to my podcast with someone you know who can really use this encouraging word and encouragement that I share each week. I publish every week on purpose, and that's my commitment to you because I want to help diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. It can be done, folks. And you know what? I have some resources that are free on my website that you're welcome to go ahead and download. I want you to visit www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And guess what? I have a free guide on there to help you when you are shopping for food. I have tons of information out there on my website, folks. Just go out there. And if you're wanting to know, okay, Oscar, how do I begin making this lifestyle change? I mean, I have a weight loss guide that's up there. I have a free shopping guide that's up there. It's the fruit and vegetables edition. You know, how to choose fruit, how to choose vegetables, and how to incorporate more vegetables in your lifestyle is on my website, folks. So, and if you're dealing with some bad habits, there's a book by James Clear that I often recommend. And it's called Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Definitely take a look at that book. They have it on audio and, of course, a physical book. I have both. I'm a nerd when it comes to knowledge and understanding. I definitely recommend that you get that publication. I think it's going to help you along your journey. So there you have it, folks. That was this week's episode of season 4. Man, we're here, season 4. Thank you so much for tuning in and be encouraged, folks. So as always, and until next time, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.